Now, Metallica was heavy, but I discovered that there was a heavier heavy. I thought it might be helpful to start out this episode by talking about my band history. So I did vocals for a few metal and hardcore bands growing up. I was in System Failure from Omaha, Nebraska. I toured with a band called Saved by Grace from Kansas City, and I was in Nodes of Ranvier from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I did one album with them called Defined by Struggle. And I bring up that history because the band I'm going to be talking about today massively influenced me to want to be in my own band years later. I am talking about Pantera, but specifically the album Vulgar Display of Power. Now, in the last episode, I talked about And Justice for All, which is a magnificent record that I still love and listen to this day. And it is heavy, but I discovered that there was a heavier heavy. So I'm over at my friend's house. His brother has this CD. I've never heard of this band, but he puts it in, hits play, and I hear Mouth for War for the first time. My 12-year-old brain can't understand what is happening. What is this? What is this music? Then I keep listening, and he gets to the part where he says revenge. Revenge! So I'm hooked. The groove, the musicianship, the heaviness of it. I'm 12 years old. I didn't have the language to fully express like what this music was doing to me. I just knew that this is it. I want more of this. But then I open up the CD case and I see Phil, and he looks like a demon, by demons driven. Probably was. But I'm looking at this guy. He's huge. He's terrifying. And I'm matching it up with the music. And that was it for me. Lyrically, the parts of Pantera that stood out to me the most were strength, determination, confidence and power, new life in place of old life, unscarred by trials. These lyrics were uplifting to me and mixed in with all the negativity and aggression and anger that Pantera was all about as well. Another thing about Pantera was their fashion sense, which was basically zero. They had no fashion sense. They didn't need it. And that was the beauty of it. This was in the 90s, so it was kind of the rejection of the glam metal scene and the gaudiness of the 80s, which Pantera took part in briefly, but they knew they didn't have to dress up or do anything. They could be wearing Dallas Cowboy shirts, being shirtless most of the time, and just go out there every night and kill it. And that's what Pantera did. So years later, when I joined a band, started doing vocals for hardcore metal bands, Phil was one of my archetypes about what a frontman should be, how he should sound, how he should present himself on stage, how he should act. When I look at footage of me and my bands, and then I look at footage of Pantera, I was basically trying to be Phil. That was probably in the back of my mind the whole time. It's like, do I look like Phil? Now, I know I'm not alone. I know that millions of people were influenced and impacted by Pantera, and they went out and formed their own bands because of it. So to wrap it up, I think Pantera matters to me because they shaped and formed the way that I think a heavy metal band should be. A heavy, extreme metal band. That's what they should look like. That's what they should sound like. What about you? Do you remember the first time you heard Pantera? If so, comment below. Tell me that story. I'd like to hear them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.